to make me feel alright. Somebody help me, yeah. Somebody help me now. Won't somebody tell me what I've done wrong?
Hello and welcome to Tabloid Tuesday with Chris Wilkinson. In front of us today is the Loughborough Echo, and the font of the paper is in the style of the SS. So the title story: as many as 200 people a day found trespassing at quarry, with a staggering numbers of up to 200 people a day walking around and swimming at Shep Shed's Long Cliff quarry. Its owners have sent out a stark appeal saying the visitors are putting their lives at risk. Biffa Bins, which is building a waste incinerator on the site of the former quarry workings, has issued a warning to individuals of the danger to their health and safety. Chris?
Well, the location of this quarry, supposed quarry, you said was Shipstead. It might as well be Shitstead, considering that's what Biffa specialise in, just disposing of human excrement and commercial waste and all sorts of rubbish like that. I mean, in terms of people at a quarry swimming around, there are plenty of other places that are safer to swim around in than a quarry. For example, a leisure centre. For example, the seaside.
Well, what about places like Skegness, which have hypodermic needles and condoms in the water?
Well, not everywhere, but most other seaside locations.
Sutton-on-Sea.
Or leisure centre locations, yeah, well. But you've got to question, like, it's 200 people a day. That is a ridiculous amount of people going to a quarry. Just one quarry.
Well, my second question was what kind of people, because I actually don't have an opinion on what kind of people would actually do this. Are they reckless, outdoors people, or are they sort of dirtier people?
I don't think it's anything quite so exotic, to be honest. I mean, people who enjoy the outdoors typically would not go to a quarry for a swim or for leisure purposes. I think what we're seeing here is a branch of the Doctor Who Appreciation Society.
Right.
And they've gone to this quarry, perhaps because it featured in the original series. Doctor Who was notable for having alien planets that were set in all sorts of quarries all over the country, and I'm wondering perhaps if it's the same 200 people, then it might just be them. So really, it's just
so the message for Leicestershire Council is that if it's people in scarves and weird trench coats, then it's
pretty much, and like obviously with like tinfoil hats and sort of Dalek props and.
Yeah.
Stuff like
they do tend to stand out quite a lot.
Yeah.
So
they stand out because they have the glasses of paedophiles as well.
Well, it takes one to know one. But straight away on page 2, we've got these star signs. Usually this is a later feature, but we're going to go right into it. By a man called Russell Grant, where I'm either going to read your star sign or a star sign of somebody else who's born at a different time of the year, and you've got to tell me whether or not you think it appeals to you, and not try and guess where I'm looking at the page by looking at my eyes. Okay. So you close your eyes. So, you need more excitement. Life lacks in variety, fun and entertainment. You're starting to wonder whether there are better avenues to explore. You won't change the status quo without putting thought into what you are doing, but you are ready for a change.
I don't think that that's my star sign.
Okay.
Because it's not really relevant, and, well...
Are these ever relevant?
They're not relevant at all anyway, so... I don't think that is. I think that's one that you've selected, perhaps for yours.
Okay, so, next one. Someone's behaviour is puzzling you. You detect some negativity in a friendship or working relationship that has never been there before. Rather than trying to imagine what has caused it, ask what's wrong. If you ignore the problem, the tension between you could increase.
I think that's more along the lines. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that was yours. You are Aries, aren't you?
Yeah. That's remarkable how I knew that, but
I don't think it's down to cosmology or anything like that.
It's just down to luck. Yeah, like our bingo experience earlier.
It would be interesting to actually, do you not think, to read the same, because obviously we've noticed that the same astrologer is in various papers. So I've seen Russell Grant in national papers and things. It'd be interesting to see that, say, in 8 months, that you might reuse these and jumble them up. Do you think that's possible?
I think that's more than possible. He's probably got a back catalogue of like previous months, because this is relating to months, isn't it? It's not just weeks.
Yeah. So, for instance, yours is March the 21st to April the 20th.
Yeah. So I mean, it depends how often they change. I don't think they change on a weekly basis, because
Conveniently, astrology works to the rhythm of whatever local paper one reads. I didn't realise it was that.
Yeah, but this Russell Grant guy, I mean, there's no competition, is there? I mean, if he's in every single paper...
Well, not everyone. There was that mental woman we had in the last paper, I think it was a woman. She looked like Vanessa Feltz. But if you were on...
Is it something like Cosmic Kim or something like that?
Yeah, there was one like that. Let's move on to an actual story. Fire chief issue warnings to pranksters. Fire chiefs have issued a fire warning after a spike in calls to parks to rescue teenagers getting stuck in child swings while filming videos for social media. It's been inspired by the platform TikTok.
Well, I mean, that's the root of all evil, isn't it? TikTok.
Well, we touched on its Chinese roots last week.
Chinese, yeah, so it's Chinese owned. And
if British children and chavs are deciding to get themselves stuck in child swings, then is that the fault of the Chinese?
But hold on, I mean, this is nothing new. This has been around since at least the time of Jackass, which was 20 years ago.
The days of happy slapping when this stuff could be recorded.
Yeah, exactly. But now, obviously, we live in times of oppression. And we can't do this without the thought police, or in this case the fire service, coming out and trying to rescue people who don't really need to be rescued.
Yeah.
It's just nanny state, really, isn't it?
Yeah. There have been 5 incidents in Leicestershire in 3 weeks, including a fire crew from Loughborough which spent 17 minutes releasing a 19-year-old male from an infant swing on Knox Road, and another incident in another town where a 13-year-old girl had to be extracted from a swing in Sharpley Road, Loughborough.
Well, they make it out to be a massive issue. It's really not.
Yeah, as if it's contagious and can't be stopped.
It's really not. I mean, those who will do these sorts of things will continue to do these sorts of things. It's not going to be stopped by a clip round the ear from the fire brigade or something like that.
Still time to name the wagons as Florence arrives. Time is running out for young residents in Charnwood to enter name suggestions for a new fleet of refuse vehicles.
So I wonder if this is for Biffa road vehicles or something like that, refuse vehicles. I don't really understand the purpose of trying to name a refuse vehicle. I mean, like, of all the competitions that you've got like, design a Doctor Who monster, or
Doctor Who again there.
Yeah, that's a Doctor Who reference. I don't know, sort of spot the pig in the local magazine.
Yeah, spot the ball, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever. But to actually be the person who has been selected to provide a name for a refuse vehicle pretty much smears your name in shit, literally.
Yeah, so is it equivalent to actually being, drawing the long straw just to be told to poke poo?
Well, I mean, I don't think they'd be poking poo. I think they would literally be up to their necks in it.
Have you got any good ideas for dustbin lorry names? I mean, don't say like the David Attenborough or things like that.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with the term dumper or something like that, like as in dumper truck.
Yeah.
But the fact, why would you do this? I mean, you're just naming a vehicle that carries around waste.
Well, I'm going to turn the picture around to you and point to a decal on the door of this dustbin lorry. A name which may crop up again later. So if you could just tell us what that says, what logo that's for.
The logo is for Serco.
Which is, for the people that don't know.
Well, isn't Serco like a security company?
Yeah, it's a private firm that adheres to government contracts.
Yeah, with Nigel Farage's expeditions to travel lodges in Bromsgrove and everything like that.
We should just talk about that a little bit, because we've been talking about it while the microphone's not been on. Because you and I both think there's something slightly off about the presentation of those videos.
Well, it's more you than me, but essentially he just turns up to a location that has been suspected to be overrun by migrants in rather unsuitable beige trousers and sort of James-made jumpers.
And in what is the back of a very expensive SUV.
Chauffeur-driven sort of Land Rover thing. And he goes around, he pretty much turns up at a location and then...
turns up at the door, is told to go away.
Told to go away. Promptly does so after asking, "Do you work for Serco?" And
then they say they can't answer that.
Yeah, they can't answer that. And then he goes back to his vehicle to provide an assessment as to what he's just seen.
But what he thinks he's just seen, because of course, because he says, as you've seen there, hotels packed with migrants, where
you
maybe
see one or two that have come through the lobby,
and on you don't necessarily know if they are or not.
And the car park's empty. Like, there's hardly any staff there either.
Yeah, I think that bit does lend credence to the fact that they may be migrants, because obviously if they were migrants, they wouldn't have cars.
Surely there'd be more security. Like if the premises is so.
Yeah, but Serco is a private company, so why would they spend more money than they absolutely have to?
No, like commuting, like for the people who work for Serco who are in that building.
But if it's just if it's people living in a hotel, why would they need to bring loads of security?
Well, probably to stop Nigel Farage from getting in or getting a drink in the bar.
So, okay, that's a good point. I guess, yeah. We didn't really have anything to say about this, but you just wanted to mention the fact that in this paper it includes all the planning applications and planning decisions made by the Leicester Council.
Yeah. Well, this is quite unique because it's for the first time, I think, ever in all of the Tabloid Tuesdays we've done. It's the first time in which actual news is being reported, and people can see from this. It's got planning decisions and planning applications. You can see from this what is going to change and what is going to be developed in your area, which is quite a unique feature.
Yeah, because these aren't just private properties. These are so there's one about Leicestershire football ground. There's some shopping centres, things like that. So it does actually give you some clue as to how your area is going to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I only wish that this was elsewhere. It's only a page of small text, really, pretty much.
Which means there's a lot of information there.
Yeah, so it's all quite packed. I suppose it's very useful to see this sort of information.
Okay, so this is a story by a man called Chris, and it's called Borough U-Turn Over Bid to Close Pop-Up Market. Charnwood Borough Council has made a U-turn after it was heavily criticised for attempting to shut down a popular pop-up market. So it goes on to basically explain in long form that the council wanted a cut of this and they said no, so they shut it down, but they've been forced to U-turn because of public pressure.
Well, I really don't have too much to say.
Just maybe just on greedy councils and the experience of councils.
I mean,
that's what the story's really about, isn't it?
It's nothing new. I mean, councils have always been out to get as much money as possible from people, and the steps that they take are pretty much destroying businesses and things like that. Every bit of economic sunshine that is trying to break through, they're just determined to snuff out because, councils for a very long time don't know how to manage like the areas in which they
serve, quote unquote, serve.
Yeah, well, yeah, and have jurisdiction over.
What is human life? Should we accept the case for a sister dying? That's not funny, is it? I forgot that this story was about that, so when I read it out, it caught me by surprise. This issue raises the essential fundamental question: what is human life? Are we humans just pond scum? According to the late Stephen Hawkins.
That's quite an extreme view of human life, though.
Yeah, apparently that's Stephen Hawking. Lumps of meat, according to Richard Dawkins, or merely atoms and chemicals, as the late Bertrand Russell said. No better than flies and fleas, except more highly developed, living in a meaningless universe that is merely the result of an accident, and that will finally disintegrate, and in which all humans are heading for oblivion without any final accountability and no day of judgment.
So my estimation of this newspaper has now just suddenly been downgraded.
No, they were quoting Dawkins and Bertrand Russell there.
Yeah, I mean, but that's
It was an introductory paragraph.
So pretty much two classic atheists, and sort of, where's the variance in this? Because what is this story? Because it's not even a story.
If the former were true, then it would be fine to go ahead with assisted dying, because in the end, human existence would be pointless anyway.
Who's saying this? Who's saying
It's a letter to the editor. There is violence and murder.
Why is it there? I mean, it's not even a not even a story. It's not even an.
It doesn't even appear to be about someone who's going through this traumatic experience of having a relative or themselves
This is
completely
disconnected from reality almost, and it's just the quotes that you've got there from Bertrand Russell and
well, I've not got them there. That's what the paper says.
And Richard Dawkins and things like that. Pretty much the most generic sort of overarching
Nihilistic
philosophy of human life that you could possibly find, and there's no interrogation of sort of minor information and circumstantial evidence and things like that, which makes the most difference, because you could easily be reincarnated as a bird, and because of the virtue of being a bird is that you would not be able to talk to other humans and say, "Oh, I was a human once." So it does leave open the possibility that reincarnation exists. I don't discount it,
but it can't be in any way acknowledged, because if you were a human, you'd be reincarnated into something that by definition would have no consciousness of its own life.
Yeah, and a very limited lifespan at that. So if it wouldn't be able to have too much of an impact. But this is just, I mean, if this is the quality of people who are writing in, then...
Well, it's a man with some philosophical questions to ask.
God help Loughborough, then.
God help Loughborough. I've only been to Loughborough once, and I thought it was quite nice. Have you ever been to Loughborough?
I have, actually, yeah. It does look nice, but then again, the judgment of local residents...
It's called Brian Shingler.
Well, I mean...
That's his name?
Brian Shingler, well, you're hardly a Schindler, or...
What are you on about?
Yeah.
Why does he have a relation to Oscar Schindler just because his one letter in his name is one letter different from...
because he has completely opposite views by the looks of it. Instead of being benevolent, he is pretty much evil. Yeah,
nihilistic, yeah. So just to finish this off, I'll read a quote. He says, "There is violence and murder. Humans injure..."
For God's sake, he's just stating the obvious at this point.
"Killing, knives, machetes and guns, robbery and rape, drug trafficking, human trafficking. The list is endless."
He doesn't know the history of this planet that he's on. And he's probably confused as to why God has given him life in the first place. I mean, these kinds of people do exist, and they're not really very good at all. The world's better off ignoring these people.
Because they deliberately make human existence pointless and thus make it completely unenjoyable.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is sort of, dare I say, cultural Marxism. I know we're not really political.
Well, it's not really. It's a bit more abstract than that.
No, because it's reducing everything to a lowest common denominator, which is his version of the truth, which is entirely subjective.
What we believe around this table, then, Chris, is Aristotelian teleology, where things have intrinsic purposes. He once said that an acorn intrinsically is to become an oak tree, and that's a far more optimistic way of viewing things, and not necessarily untrue either.
Yeah. So everything has a purpose, and it's all cause and effect. That's the way that you can view the world, and it's far superior to that fake Schindler, the anti
Brian Schindler, Brian with a Y as well.
The anti-Schindler.
Yeah,
that's who he is.
Lockdown highs and lows and 65th Echo anniversary. It has been a time of highs and lows for former Echo editor John Rippin and his wife, Rosemary. Another hyphen that shouldn't be there. Rosemary, 74. Since his last lockdown article appeared in the Echo on June the 10th, John thought it was time for an update.
Self-congratulatory rubbish there. That is complete rubbish. I don't really understand. I mean, why would you put what appears to be a one-page spread
Yeah, it's a full one-page spread.
One and a bit, yeah. And on the success of the newspaper that people are reading at that moment. I mean,
Yeah.
it does seem a bit much when certain other stories have got a column or two at best and are of far more importance.
Yeah. So let's move on to page 5. There's a picture. No, page 9. Sorry. There's a picture of a nice-looking Chinese student from the university.
Is it Jing Zhao?
It's not Jing Zhao. No, it's Jennifer Hu, who is on her way to study at Cambridge. So well done to her. Moving on to
The better of the two Oxbridge universities.
yeah. Loughborough Uni is victim of database hack. I thought they only did PE at Loughborough University. Hackers have breached the databases of Lorries Hospice and Loughborough and De Montfort universities. The hospice in the two universities confirmed they are among the organisations worldwide affected by the attack on cloud computing provider Black Bowled. I think that's German. The hackers took information through a ransomware attack aimed at locking the cloud software firm out of its own data and servers. The charity in Groby Road and universities have apologised to supporters, staff and alumni who have had their details accessed, but stress no bank account, credit card or password information has been compromised.
Do you remember when the NHS got that ransomware?
When it got hacked?
Yeah. And everyone was making out, oh, it's a massive thing, oh God.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was basically caused by an overload of a server.
Yeah.
The ransomware overloaded the servers and made it crash.
Yeah.
This is a very similar thing. And I think it's perhaps evidence, this type of story, of the climate of fear that has been produced, and unreasonably so, because we're seeing people with masks on outside in the street when you shouldn't have to wear those masks at those points. You should wear them in shops and things like that as per the regulations, but not all the time. And certain events over the past 5 months or so have really separated the true sheep from the goats.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost, the Bible is almost true in that sense. It's coming true.
Yeah.
Well,
we've got a bit on the Bible later.
Yeah.
And I think in next week's paper as well. Couples joy at winning Best Kept Allotment Award. Gary and Heather Law have been named as the winners of the Phil Cross Memorial Trophy for this year's Best Kept Allotment on the Leicester Road allotment site. Now, it looks nice.
He looks like a hippie.
He looks like a hippie.
Yeah, he's wearing... If I were just to turn it around, yeah. This man is...
Let's describe him head to toe. Let's go all the way from the top, straight from the hair, the skin colour tone, all the way down to the very bottom.
So he's average white. He's of reasonable height. He has grey hair that's sort of thinned and wispy and things like that. He has those thin-framed glasses that were around about 10 years ago. That both me and you actually possessed, apparently.
Yeah, with sort of thick arms.
Yeah. He's wearing sort of a medallion thing with a...
Sort of a hippie necklace sort of thing.
Yeah. A sort of amber orange top, like a T-shirt with...
Look closely.
Is it Storm Chase? Or something like that. There's a picture of a mountain on it or something
sort of
like
band. I thought it was a Mahavishnu Orchestra album cover, but it's not. I thought it actually said Star Trek.
Staunch Honk? Or whatever that is. And then he's got sort of...
So that's on that, and that's on a T-shirt, yeah?
Yeah, that's on the T-shirt. And then...
And it's a tight-fitting T-shirt over a belly, which is nothing wrong with being, slightly overweight, but you shouldn't,
But then there's sort of like these...
Clarkson body, yeah.
There's sort of what I can only describe as Harlem trousers with... Patchwork, sort of... But it's not even patchwork, it's sort of like...
They look like 6x4 inch cuttings of a Hawaiian shirt.
It's
different
like something
ones.
I would wear on my top half, but in trouser form. And right next to it is a new wave enthusiast who...
She looks perfectly normal next to him.
Yeah, and so does the person presenting the award.
Yeah.
Who
Malcolm McDowell.
is the mayor? Is he the mayor?
I don't know.
He seems to have some sort of mayoral...
Yes, he's got... Yes, yeah, I can see now, yeah, of course he's got the big thing around him.
But he looks like a sore thumb in relation to the other two.
So we should just check if these two are related. very bad of us that we didn't do that. It doesn't say. She actually looks a bit like Michaela Strachan, which I can't remember if we brought her up last week. We did talk about it, but I can't remember if we did it while we were recording the show.
But at least they do appear joyous, having won this award of best kept allotment.
There is AstroTurf under their feet, though. Is that really growing a good allotment?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I hope that was
being that the trophy is a trowel on a sort of a plinth, having AstroTurf sort of.
So in other words, it's a Cluedo weapon. They've been provided with a Cluedo weapon.
What do you mean?
Well, it just.
No, I meant it's sort of hypocrite. Laying AstroTurf requires no gardening skills.
Yeah, but what kind of a prize is that? A bloody trowel?
Yeah, I would agree. It looks like a new one from Home Base or something.
Like sort of alluding to the fact that the two people who've won the award are trowels.
Free course on money budgeting. It's not a very long story, but I just wanted your opinion on this. A free money management course entitled Down to Your Last Beans is being staged at the Glenmore Centre. It's a free course to help you manage your money better and learn to budget, save and spend well, and it starts on Monday.
Wow. It doesn't even tell you the time that it starts, or?
Oh yeah, it says August. It was more about the thing itself rather than the accuracy of the article.
I mean, to be honest, what is this really going to contain? Because it's a free course. The fact that it's free rings alarm bells, and it's on money budgeting. Anyone could tell you that.
The first lesson about money budgeting should be that nothing is free.
Yeah, but anyone could tell you in a course, particularly, it says it starts on that day, but how long does it run for?
It's actually started today about an hour ago because it started on August 24th.
So, what is it, just 1 hour or 2 hours anyone could do?
Yeah, 2 till 4.
Joking. I mean, that's a complete waste of time.
Okay, well here we go. This is the story that we both want to cover. Handheld robotic guide dog for the visually impaired. A student at Loughborough University, again I only thought they did PE, has designed an handheld robotic guide dog.
And handheld?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, okay.
I know, so yeah, spelling error, yeah. And handheld robotic. I thought it depended on what followed the H in the word. Determined. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They've made a robotic dog for visually impaired people that are unable to home a real dog. Anthony Camus, a final year industrial design and technology student, wanted to design a product that replicates a guide dog's functions for visually impaired people unable to have guide dogs. We get the point. So, Chris.
A robotic guide dog. I mean, as if these people who are blind probably weren't, they're already quite lonely. A real dog might actually provide at least some level of humanistic interaction.
Yeah, because it is interaction with an animal, and they are sort of receptive to human behaviour. Whereas
I don't think that's going to be a very good thing, to be honest, because ultimately, what if it breaks? What if that robotic guide dog takes you across a road that is full of traffic, full of high-speed traffic? You are
high speed traffic.
Yeah. So what if it accidentally, instead of taking you over traffic lights, what if it took you over a dual carriageway?
Yeah, it could walk you into a canal,
or anything. It could stop working halfway through the crossing.
Yeah, because if it's based on machine learning, I'm going to try and read a little bit more while you're talking about it. But.
And ultimately, this is going to be very bad because people might.
It is. I actually guessed that, and it's true. As an Internet of Things (IoT) close bracket device, Thea, which is the name of the dog, will then process.
I'm not bloody surprised it's called that.
Why? I'm not sure what the reference is for that. What is it?
Thea.
No, Thea.
Well, Thea.
It's not called. Yeah. It will be able to process real-time data available online, such as traffic density and whether to. That doesn't sound very safe to me either. No. I know you were sort of being slightly joking about that, but that's.
It does sound really. It's like those self-driving cars and things that you see, like in the tests that they've done for self-driving cars. People have ended up being crushed
Yeah.
And they don't really tell you about it because, this is the future.
But it says that this can monitor real life traffic density. But a dog can...
What's it going to do? Is it going to make you avoid speed cameras as well? And, lead you up down, dead-end roads and things like that and make you do a 180 degree.
Yeah, just because the traffic density is lighter. But the thing, surely, Chris, that if it's only monitoring the density of traffic, but a real-life guide dog can tell you if there's actually a car in the way.
Yeah. Well... And also, think about how it's going to get that information. It's going to be using the National Speed Camera Network in order to determine the density of traffic, because there's no other reasonable way that you're going to be able to measure it.
Yeah.
What's the point? Ultimately, that dog has got to get you from a destination to, from one place to another place. And if it's more worried about you trying to cross a road than actually go to the shops, get your food shopping, keep you safe, keep you on the pavement, what is the point in that robotic dog?
Maybe it'll refuse to let you enter a shop without wearing a face mask as well.
It's going to cause other problems as well, because real dogs don't like robotic versions of themselves.
Yeah, just like we don't like androids that look like us because it creeps us out.
Yeah, so
I've seen dogs bark at hoovers and things.
Dogs are going to be barking all over this thing, and it's going to just cause hassle.
Yeah,
and it's not really going to help the person who's visually impaired.
And just to finish it off, it says the ultimate goal is that Thea's users can traverse routes safely and efficiently at the same pace as, or even faster than, ordinary people. So this is about blind people being able to run.
So this is really dangerous, and for the only way it can increase the speed and efficiency is by making the person run faster and walk faster and then run. I don't think that's particularly wise, particularly if the dog malfunctions while running up towards a busy road where there's 40 miles an hour traffic.
This dog is presumably stop quite quickly, but normal people have momentum built up to slow down.
Yeah, but I don't think it would stop, to be honest. I mean, if it breaks, it's not going to stop. It's just going to freeze.
Yeah.
And just keep going at the colossal speed it's going at, like 30 miles an hour.
So the last section of this paper is a double-page spread called Villages. So obviously this is sort of Leicestershire, so there aren't many large towns apart from Leicester and Loughborough. So it tries to keep all the local villages and towns in touch. So we picked out some of the best stories that we've read. So the first one, Chris, we just want to give you quick-fire comments on each one. Lost butterflies at the meadows. An update of species lists for butterflies recorded in East Leaks Meadow Park since monitoring started in 2008. There's loads of spelling errors in this, and I'm trying to not say them as I'm reading it out. Records that various species have become extinct.
Well, I mean, what can I say about that? I mean,
not much.
There's not much that you can say. The fact that it's covered in spelling mistakes pretty much ties into the theme of local newspapers, as we discussed the other week.
Should we move on?
Well, in terms of butterflies, it's part of a wider problem. The butterfly population.
What's the wider problem?
The butterfly population, as with the bee population, has been declining very significantly. So, certainly over the past 20 years, it's not due to climate change.
What is it due to? Moths.
Well, anything really. It's more so the destruction of natural habitat.
Yeah.
And just changing sort of...
Yeah.
You can't really stop something from becoming extinct, really, because otherwise you're interfering in it.
Okay. Be aware of callers. Residents in East Leak and area have been told they need to be aware that the door-to-door knockers are active in this area. They claim to be ex-offenders working for a probation service approved scheme. No such scheme exists. While there is no suggestion of criminal activity, I'm pretty sure extorting people door-to-door is criminal activity, but there we go. The quality of the product sold isn't always to people's expectations. All residents should be cautious about buying any goods or services from cold callers, whether at the door, by mail, or on the phone.
That's sending out a very bad message, because I used to work for I assume this is physical. Door to door.
Yeah.
I used to work for a door-to-door fundraising company that helped provide funds for the British Heart Foundation and things like that. And for them to be sort of castigated or demonised in such a way it's not very productive to the genuinely good causes that exist out there.
Yeah.
And this is it's probably just a few old people who got a bit funny because someone came to their door that they didn't know, and it wasn't the milkman and it wasn't the postman.
Well, it says that they were claiming to work for a probation scheme that doesn't exist.
Well, you know,
Chill out.
without specifying where they came from, how do you know that probation scheme doesn't exist?
Yeah, you've got a point. Quote, cleared the ditches after a special meeting this week of Sutton Bonington Parish Council, which was called for members to approve year-end accounts for 2019 to 2020 to discuss quotes received to clear the ditches and dikes and agree actions. You didn't know what I said, did you?
Sorry, I was distracted.
It's about clearing ditches. And it's literally the most boring story in the world.
Yeah, I mean, why is that in there? What's the point?
Yeah, it's not actually even quoted. It's not quoted the quote that it's going to cost.
Just a matter of interest. For a local paper to be 56 pages long is pretty heroic.
Yeah.
It must be said.
It's not jam-packed with adverts either, is it?
Yeah. I mean, that China Daily was probably half the size with no adverts.
Well, we're going to the sexual section of the paper. In a later video, we're actually going to call one of these, but we're going to go through some of the adverts. We're going to go through the ladies, the female-seeking section, the Lonely Hearts column of the Loughborough Echo. So I'm going to read them out. You can just sort of... There's loads. I didn't realise there's that many. We'll do most of them. Also in the female section, there's someone called John, so that's pretty weird. So, Sarah. Curvy lady with large breasts, pretty green eyes, fabulous teeth, 37 years, with a very naughty side, hoping to meet an older man for no strings fun. Text only.
I thought you said that this was tame.
Well, I did when I first went over it, but I just picked one out at random.
That's just pushing the boundaries, isn't it?
Okay, here we go. This is Nina. Very lonely black female looking for male to offer his heart to me. Make each other happy and enjoy a loving LTR, long-term relationship together. Call me if you feel the same. Does she take your fancy? Obviously, there's no pictures in here, viewers.
The description of very lonely.
Yeah. Does that convey a cat-owning person to
I
you?
was just going to say, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Avoid.
Chris, which can be a girl's name, Chris.
Is this in the girls' section?
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. Yes, it is. Yes, it is in the girls' section, the ladies' section. 50s, attractive, presentable, medium built, fit female, blonde hair, loves holidays, good company, seeking male for loving relationship.
Who doesn't love holidays? Of all the things that you could pick out as an interest, you pick holidays.
Yeah.
It doesn't even say where. It doesn't say like a Swiss skiing holiday. It just says holidays. That could mean anything. Again, generic. Yeah, generic.
Okay, read between the lines for Sue, 48, who is petite with fair hair, honest, trustworthy, caring. It says in capital letters GSOH. Do you know what that means?
What?
It says, that's what it says. It says petite, fair hair, just yada, 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 full stop. And then in capital letters, it says GSOH. Do you know what that means? Can you speculate on what it might mean? I've no idea.
Go sit on her?
Varied interests. That's very, dubious, isn't it? Yeah. Loves outdoors. WLTM man looking for the same sorts of things.
WLTM?
Yeah. These are like newspaper terms that aren't used on online dating.
Woman.
I'm going to read it after this. It'll make you laugh.
Woman love to man. Is that what it means?
Yeah. Would like to mate.
Would like to marry. Marry.
Would like to marry. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
That's probably, yeah. Right, so...
This is the most cryptic part of the entire newspaper.
Right, we're going to go to the gay-seeking section.
Got to the crosswords and everything like that, which are quite extensive in this newspaper.
Yeah, so it's a good paper as well for that. But let's just do the two gays. And I guarantee, because I say this word a lot, Chris, and I'm not embellishing on what this guy's writing, because I never do that with the papers, right? I always say exactly what they say. George, gay chap, 24, quite naive, but hoping to broaden my horizons with older man. Silence has... Your whole face is conveying a sort of silence. Gay chap. He's a 24-year-old guy and he's called himself a gay chap.
I just...
Come on, man. You've got to have a thought. A ponder.
He's from a public school.
He's from a...
Which in Britain is a private school for some reason.
Paul, 52. I'm small and submissive. Oh.
No.
Well, I'm not asking if you want to fuck him. I'm just saying, you know, I'm small and submissive. I wear heels and stockings, thongs, etc.
Well done.
I think we'll leave the Loughborough here.